I'm here, 8 o'clock, right on the money. So today's the 21st of November, 2023. And this is the Anyone Can Farm Experience live chat, Tuesday night edition. I'm Mark Baker, coming to you from lovely Marion, Michigan. Tonight's show is going to be sponsored by the Anyone Can Farm Experience charcuterie class, which is coming up here the second week in December. Let's see. Let me look at my calendar here. December. Ooh. Yeah. It's the 16th and 17th. And we still have a few seats open. It's a smaller class. But this class is meant to be taken after the Homestead Hog Harvest class. And I know some people haven't taken the Homestead Hog Harvest class and they plan on taking this class. You'll do okay. Like one of the people that wants to do it, she is not interested in the part of the Homestead Hog Harvest class where we're actually killing the pig, the shooting and the sticking and the evisceration and all that. And I get that. So she said, no, I don't really want to know how to do that. I don't need to know how to do that for whatever reason. And, there's a lot of reasons. My wife and daughters have never killed the chickens that we do. They don't do it. And it's not because I tell them they can't. They've just never leaned forward and said, I want to. So I just, okay, whatever. We don't push it. And whenever we teach a class like that, we pretty much put it out there. If this is not something for you, then don't do it. By all means, don't do it. But the Homestead charcuterie class is really cool. When you get here at 9 o'clock Saturday morning, the pigs are already laid out on the table in halves. So we've already gone to that. We've already done that part. And then we do overlap a little bit from the hog harvest classes. We break them down into primal cuts. And then some of those primals we're taking further than that into subprimals. And then by the end of the first day, we're actually getting into the preservation and the grinding and the sausage stuffing and the chemistry of it. And by the end of the day on Sunday, we've got a lot of meat on salt, ready to go. It's a very good class, we think. And I think it's going to be our fourth year doing it. Or third year. Yeah. So we know what we're doing. In the Homestead Hog Harvest class, we touch on this stuff, but we don't really have the time to really delve into it. And from our experience, you want to keep it as simple as possible. And if all of a sudden you start throwing in a bunch of chemistry and recipes and things like that, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So that's when we decided to create a new class, the charcuterie class, and then go further. And it's a day shorter than the Homestead Hog Harvest class. All right. So that's that out of the way. Around here, we just crossed a milestone. Thanksgiving is going to be what? Day after tomorrow, Thursday. Today's the 21st. And yesterday we knocked off all of our turkeys. So our final day of poultry processing was yesterday. And that phone keeps ringing, but we have to stop. We have to stop sometime because now it becomes pig processing season. And shortly after that, we're going to be knocking down quite a few beef this year. That was one of my goals for the year was to have a better system of processing beef. And, my philosophy on that is at one time thought that the thing to do would do one thing really, really well, and do a lot of it. And I thought that way because that's what everybody around here does. One guy will be milking 100 cows, and the next guy down the road is, well, I'm doing 200 cows. And then the next guy down the road, well, we're going to do 1,500 cows, and then 2,500 cows. So they get so special, so focused on one process that they don't know how to do anything else. They're just very focused on that one process. And even though milk, I'm not throwing stones at the guys milking cows, because a lot of them are my friends, good friends too. I could see running an 80 cow dairy. That was a good thing to do, I think. And then you still had time to do other stuff. That seemed to be a good place, right? A real good place. But there's very few of them left now in the county I live in, which is a shame. Now, it doesn't mean it's got to stay that way. The big dairies, the real big ones, they're not really even owned by people that live around here. That goes to show you what they're all about. They kind of live off government subsidies, and it's a tangled mess, and they mostly have illegal immigrants that are milking for them, and they've gotten shady, and the quality of their wares is not what it should be, and they're very pollusive. Pollusive, is that a word? They pollute a lot. They stink up the neighborhood. The guys that are working in those career fields, what are they going to do? They can't bite the hand that feeds them. This is me looking from the outside. I'm lucky I don't have to do it. It could very well have happened if I went to high school here and then I just chose to stay here and work for a farm. I know guys that have done it, and they're kind of like, hey, this is what we do. It's evolved, and we've just evolved with it. So, there's not much they can do about it. I'm just looking at it objectively, like, what process would I prefer to be in? And for me, I'm very fortunate in that when I came here, I really didn't know what I was doing. I thought I did, because at our last farm we had, we had a few steers, and we had some chickens, and a little farrowing operation. We thought we knew what we were doing, and I guess we did for there. But when we got here, the guys that seemed to be doing better were the guys who were quite specialized in doing one thing, and I didn't know the ins and outs of it. And I tried to do that. I went and visited the good people over at Greenstone Farm Credit Services, and luckily they didn't loan me any money. I'm thinking about that today, like, because if they had loaned me money and then I spent it, I'd be on the hook for that, And what would I have spent it on? Like, I really didn't know I didn't know we were going to land here. But this is 20 years now. This coming May, it's going to be our 20th year here on this farm. And we finally found a good, solid direction to go in. And let me tell you what that direction is. Right now, I'm milking 5 cows. Yep. We bottle it up in mason jars, and we sell it. We sell the raw milk via cow shares or herd shares. It's just semantics, really. But we do pretty well with it. And since I spoke to you last, we've put on 5 new customers. And I'm not sure what the actual count is on that. But my friends down at Copperhead, they don't like it too much when I try to encourage other people to get into it. But the thing about that is, Copperhead, the chances of people doing it is very narrow, because and we're going to talk about this tonight. Without prompting, a lot of people won't budge. They just get to a comfortable place and they say, that's it. I'm not moving. I don't want to take any risks. And I think that's incorrect. I think we need a little bit more courage as far as our business, farm businesses go. I think we need a little bit more courage in that area. I honestly do. I'm not lacking in it. You know, anything I take a notion I want to do, I do it. If I don't understand it, I learn it, and then I execute. We know people. Oh, and Copperhead is here too. Hey, I got a question for you, Copperhead. There's an operation that I kind of talk about a little bit with you all, you know, um, another Mangalitsa operation, and you know who I'm talking about, right? What would happen if they relocated their farm operation to Sears, Michigan? I mean, that's right down the road from us. It's called Sears. What would they call their farm then? Okay, that's one to think about. Anyway, we're doing really well with our milking operation, and it seems like the more milk we produce, the more customers we have. And you know, Copperhead doesn't like me saying this, but I think there's lots of room. I think there's lots of room because the more milk that's out there, the more people get it and the more buzz it creates about milk. And I honestly, I think that in the years or the months and years to come, we're going to see a lot more people turning to this. And I've told you guys this, that, you know, we teach the Anyone Can Farm classes and we have people coming and we're getting a totally different group of people coming now. Completely different group of people, right? These are people that are solidly in other career fields that they invested a lot of time, a lot of money in education to get there. And then they're saying, you know what? I can see where this is going. I'm going to be, you know, a cubicle person and I don't want it. I want to live my life intentionally. And it just so happens a lot of them wind up in my biosphere, my area of influence, because maybe they see a video or something and they say, well, you know, he's doing it. So maybe we could do it too. And I am doing it. And after all this time, I really, sometimes I like, whoa, this is really what I do now. You know, to be honest with you, when you are in the military, a lot of times you work hard, but most of the time you're waiting to work hard. You know, you're waiting. You've got everything ready to go, say goodbye to your airplanes, and then you're waiting. And let's shine some stuff, you know, let's paint some stuff. You know, there's a lot of boredom, there's a lot of make work, you know. It's not like this operation where I had 10 things to do today and I had to figure out which one makes the most sense to do today. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about that. Because I do like to talk about the ins and outs of my life, you know. It's kind of like you know, I have a dream. Well, I had a dream and now I'm living it. And so maybe you want to hear about it. People find that interesting. So, okay, so what do you do all day, right? Crunchy's with us, right on. Our house in the city. Oh, I saw that. Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about that. I just saw that they put their house up for sale in the city, and I thought, wow, that's a really nice house. They must be rich. But now they've moved out to the farm, and now they're free, and now they're rich. You know, probably had a well, maybe it was paid for. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. The subject tonight is fair trade, and it's a touchy situation. It really is. It's a touchy. It's almost like if you're a pastor and you're going to talk about tithing. Let's talk about tithing. Oh, okay, pastor. I'm going to go to sleep on this one. So it's a bit of a touchy one, and I'm gonna get myself psyched up to talk about it. But what did I do today? I got up this morning after yesterday killing all those turkeys. We had 30 of them, and it wasn't as bad as it seems, but we've been working really hard lately. And it was just, we had a big day on Friday, had a couple days off, or at least that's what they were supposed to be. And then we were right at it on Monday again. And today, people were coming picking up turkeys constantly. So we had constant uh, people coming through the yard. And every time someone came, you got to go down there and get their turkey for them, let them pick out the one they want, and then they want to talk about things. And that's part of this business for sure. I wasn't real good at it today. I just wasn't into it today. Normally I am, but I wasn't today. And Jill kind of shouldered that, and I really appreciate that. Like, I didn't really want to talk to anybody. I got mobbed this morning while we were milking, and I wasn't into it today for some reason. So that we got up a little on the late side, and it was dark, and it was raining cats and dogs, and it was cold out, so it was sleeting, and the forecast said it's going to do this all day long, and it did. It rained all day long, so I have to shift gears a little bit. I got a big fencing project going on next door. And so I had to shift gears on that because although I don't mind working in the rain, you get less done. You get less done. And it doesn't make sense to do that. And I had a couple jobs to do inside. And so I said, okay, I'm going to do these plumbing jobs. And that makes sense to do that. Well, it didn't happen at all. I wound up working outside anyway because I wound up having to move some animals around, and as long as I was there, I wound up fixing some fences on their pens and getting their electric up to speed. And while I'm there, I might as well seed this field. And while I'm there seeding it, I might as well make a video about it. And I wound up just moving stuff around all day. But one of the things that I'm pretty good at is I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm famous for getting jobs started. Like, I have this one field, and I'm moving my sows from where they are up by the road to another field because I want their pen to rest, and I need them out of there because I want to do some work in there. So I'm preparing this other field. Well, I couldn't get in there because there was a bunch of stuff in the way of the gate. So I had to move that stuff. And once I was done moving it, then it's like, I've got that done. I've been wanting to move it all summer long. It was just this pile of pipes that somebody put in the way, me. And it got in the way of my lawn mowing and everything. It was terrible that I did that. And I got in there and I assessed what I'm going to need to do and the tools that I'm going to need. And I thought, okay, but I'm not going to do it tomorrow. Not going to do it tomorrow because I'm going to be working on my fencing project tomorrow. So what else did I do? Oh, I got a fire going for Jill in the butcher shop. I cleaned some stuff up in there. Me and Frank milked today. Well, it was just things, here and there. There was no big job that I was going to do. And then, okay, we've completed it. Not really. I just moved stuff around. Cleaned up from the end of the chicken butchering season. Got a lot of that equipment out of there. Because now it's going to be opened up and we've got the tables moved in place so we can be butchering pigs and cows in there. So I just did a lot of that. But it was raining all day, so I did have to change out my clothes one time. Not complaining at all. It was a good day. I lately am having these days when I get up and I think, you know what? We really need to go on vacation. We need a rest. And by 5 o'clock, it feels like you're just getting going. And then it's dinner time and it's like, wow, the day's over already. I can't believe it. But it was a good day. Tomorrow's going to be sunny and cold, and we'll be able to get back to our fencing. And things are good. I have no complaints. I will tell you this. This is something that's no, the bull is still out there. I don't want to do him this week because I just don't. And we think that one of our cows will come in, and I really like his genetics. So I'd like him to just impregnate one more cow, and then I'm going to knock him off. And what I thought was, I'm going to give him a lot of bread every day because I want him to get fat. And so every day I've been giving him like a bucket of bread, and he's actually turned into kind of a nice guy, except if I don't get it out there in time, and then he just bellering, and he's a not that nice a guy really anyway. But yeah, that's got to happen. Maybe next Saturday, not this coming, but the one after. Yeah, I didn't want to do it this week because Thanksgiving we are forced to take the day off and go to the Outlaws on Thursday, and then we're doing Thanksgiving here on Sunday, and all my kids come here, and we saved one turkey, right? And you have to try it sometime if any of you have a muzzle loading rifle out there. Get a turkey, and it sounds kind of mean, but you tie his legs together so he can't move and tie him to something heavy. And then you put a hay bale in front of him, and you got to put something that bullets won't go through in front of the hay bale, like cordwood or something like that. And then you move back like 75 feet. Doesn't seem like far, but it is for a muzzleloader or for kids. And then you have to call the turkey, and they'll stick his head up and call back. And so the kids have to do that, and they're standing there with a muzzleloader cocked, and they and when he calls back, they shoot at him, and it creates a lot of really crazy energy with the kids. It really does. And it goes way back. It's a tradition in the Baker household. It goes way back to when we lived in Montana. Kind of a funny story. I better not lose my train of thought. I didn't think this was going to be a good show tonight, but it is, because Copperhead showed up. Yeah. We'll talk about that later. AI. Yeah. It'd be good to know how to do that, but there are technicians that go around, do it all day long, and they're cheap, relatively better than keeping a bull around. So I don't know. Because we did take a quick class on it, but it didn't go so good. People that attended it couldn't actually get it done. I don't know. I wasn't one of the attendees, so I can't really speak to it. But Jill was, and we still couldn't get it done. But quick story: when I was stationed in Montana, my last duty assignment, there was a guy, a civilian, and he says, "Is anybody interested in buying any guns?" And I was like, "Whoa, what do you got?" And he showed me what he had, and then he said, I'm getting out of them. I'll this much for all of them." And I said, "Yeah, it was a good deal," because there was one in there that I really wanted. What was it? It was a Remington 700 BDL, expensive rifle in 30-06 with a nice glass on it. I forget what it was because I wound up flipping it. I sold it. But anyway, I bought those guns from him, and he says, "Here, take this one too." And one of them was a Pennsylvania rifle. It was a reproduction rifle. They call it a squirrel gun. It was 45 caliber. I still have it, but it was, it was okay. It wasn't an original gun or anything. It was probably worth $100 or something like that. But that was the one my kids saw, and they really liked it because we were watching a movie. Sergeant York was the name of the movie with I forget who it was, but it's a great movie if you ever want to watch a good movie. And there was a part in the movie where they had a turkey shoot, and Alvin York won the turkey shoot, and my kids, they watched that and wow, that's cool. And they would have been, Joe and Sam would have been like 7 and 5, and they thought it was so cool, and this is before, where we lived in Montana, we didn't have TV. We just had a VCR. And so we had a tape of Sergeant York was the name of the movie. And they watched it. And they loved the movie. They watched it over and over and over. And they, so anyway, I brought this gun home, and they said, "Hey, can we have a turkey shoot?" I said, I don't see why not. I don't see why not. We got a turkey, don't we? Yeah. So Sam was first. Sam's like 26 years old now. So this was a while ago. And he was the little guy. And so I didn't even put a ball in it. I just put powder in it and a wad. And he couldn't hold it up. It's a big long rifle, Kentucky rifle or Pennsylvania rifle. And kaboom, bunch of smoke come out, and the turkey's still standing. So he was behind a wood pile, and they got really good at calling him, and he would call back. And so then it's Joe's turn, and Joe, like 7, I guess. And I put a ball in for him because it does kick a little bit, and he hit the thing right in the neck. So none of the rest of us got to shoot. There was only two shots fired. One was a blank, and the other one had a ball in it, and he hit it. Crazy. But that's how it works, right? I mean, it wasn't luck. He was shooting in that direction. He was there to shoot that turkey, and he hit the turkey. Hey, he's leaning the gun on the woodpile to hold it up, but he hit it. And so he felt quite confident. And then years later, when we were here, I was teaching kind of a homeschool class, and there was a bunch of boys in it. And I said, you know what we should do? We should have a turkey shoot. And so the boys all got to pick out a gun, a kit, and then we built the kits. And then we told the parents, yeah, we're going to have a turkey shoot on this day. People took days off work to come to this turkey shoot that we had. And guess who hit the turkey? Joe. Hit it right through the head. Yes, indeed. And it was a great success. And then we had another turkey in the house, and all the parents stayed, and we had turkey and all this stuff quite early in the day, like 4:00 in the afternoon. It was really fun. It was great. And we did it one more time after that. And guess who hit the turkey? Yeah, he did. So we're going to have one this coming Sunday. And I don't know if I'm going to let Joe shoot, but anyway, the little kids have never done it, so it should be fun. So anyway, little side story. All right, we're going to be talking about fair trade. Fair trade. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, turkey shoot. I thought you being Air Force, you'd call in a missile strike instead. Probably a B-52 strike. Yeah. All right. Ben's with us. They should make a mouse that comes on automatically instead of one that goes off all the time. Hold the line, Homestead. Sarah. Crunchy. Sean Wise. No luck, Sean, so far. Hey, Sean Wise asked me if anybody needs red mangas. He's got some little ones that he would like to move along. He asked me, and I asked around, but this is a pretty good audience right here. If anybody needs them, Sean's your guy. Sean Wise. All right. And Yeah, Sean, I just don't need them. I got 3 breeders and my boar copperhead, and so I'm pretty good to go. So anyway, fair trade. Let's talk fair trade. All right, so fair trade would be uh, okay. We have to wrap our head around the reality of our lifestyles as homesteaders. We see the difference when we have customers coming on to get turkeys, right? They are used to the money system, that system. Like they are used to spending money there with their credit cards uh, and cash, and that's it, right? They obviously don't live on homesteads, or they wouldn't be buying turkeys from us. And so it's very much a cash and carry business when it comes to those folks. But the people that are here, we are homesteaders. And so there is an alternative system. A lot of times we trade, you know. Uh, if I need something, I put it out there. Hey, I need this. And a lot of times I'll have somebody say, "Oh, I got that." Keith Sutton, I put it out there. I need 2 telephone poles. And he says, I got them. I got them. I said, what do you want for him? He says, come and get them. All right. All right. But part of me is those things are worth something. They're definitely worth something. If I went down here to Hydro Lake and I said, I need 2 phone poles, they'd be, yeah, no problem. That'll be $1,500. You're kidding. Oh, you think these things are free? We don't give these things away for nothing. When we sell them to Consumers Energy, $750 a piece or something, whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if they were $750. Well, I think Copperhead could tell me that. He is in that business. So anyway, they're not free, and they're not going to give them to you because you're a homesteader. You're gonna cough up something, and like Hydro Lake, it's a place that makes them down in McBain. If you say, "Well, I could trade you some wiener pigs," it'd be like what? We don't take wiener pigs for telephone poles. They wouldn't, So that's a different type of business. But amongst us homesteaders, you have stuff that you're not using. And wouldn't it make a lot of sense to be able to move it to somebody that does need it, especially if they could trade you something that you need, right? Makes a lot of sense. But stuff has value. So we both need to be thinking fair trade. We both need to think about that. So like in Keith's case, Keith gave me these phone poles. He says, no, take them. And I said, no, these things are worth something. You wanted to take a class, Homestead Hog Harvest class. Why don't you come to the class? And he's given me plenty of other stuff too. That's just, he scrounges and he warehouses it kind of. And so I said, well, why don't you take this class? We'll front it to you. And he's like, yeah, okay, that's a good deal. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think he thought he got a better deal. I think, because then he said, hey, I could help you do those turkeys. And we said, yeah, okay, we could use, we're not going to turn down help on a day like that. So we got a really good deal. And he got a good deal. He got what he wanted. We got what we wanted. And I still feel like I owe him. I still feel like I'm going to do something good for him, when I get the chance. And it's a great feeling. It's not that feeling like if you went to Hydro Lake and you dropped $1,500 on 2 phone poles, and then you're looking at your projects and saying, wow, this thing's costing me a lot of money. You know, it's going to take me a lot of beef to get that $1,500 paid back. Like, oh, it's Mrs. Copperhead then. That's on here then. Well, so there is fair trade. Fair trade. Okay. And we need to. We're the senior people in this. We're the senior people in this. We're going to have junior people come in, and we really need to train them that no, your time is worth money. Like, if you want my time, I pay myself $25 an hour. That's what I charge for my time, or whatever it is. Like, we had an incident recently, and I don't think Joe would mind me talking about this, but there was a lady downstate that had some turkeys processed at the only USDA plant in Michigan. And she figured that because they're a USDA plant, USDA inspected, Department of Agriculture, United States Department of Agriculture, or as Mr. Joel says, US duh, that they could do a good job for her. And when she got them back, she realized, wow, the presentation on this is terrible. And our poultry processing has gotten really good over time. You know, we get better every year, and we're known for a good looking product leaving. You know, when people bring their chickens to us and then they pick them up, they, wow, these look great, or turkeys or whatever. And so she called and she said, I've got these turkeys and there's 18 of them and they don't look good and they got to go out. Can you do something? And Jill said, well, yeah, we're kind of closed, but okay. And they came this morning, 9:00. And Jill looked them over and she said, I don't know what I should charge this lady. I said, your time is worth $25 an hour. That's what I think you are worth. You are not novice at this. You've been at this for 30 years now. Well, not quite 30, but 20 here and 7 at the last place. So you've been at this a while and you're pretty darn good at it. Why should you spend your day doing this and not be compensated at a fair rate? Like, if we hired you, Jill, to weed the garden, although it's not exactly not exactly skilled labor, although there's a knack to it for sure. Processing poultry, cutting up poultry and packaging it, that is skilled labor, because not everybody can do that. So I say you have to be fair to the farm and charge what your time is worth, how many hours it took you to do this. And so she said, yeah, you're right. But this other person is a homesteader as well. And I'm not sure, I don't know them, or maybe I do, but I hope they're not listening right now. But I think on top of what they've already paid to get these things processed, they're going to get kind of a shock here, you know, because you're paying somebody for an hourly rate, let's say, and it took you 4 hours to do it, you know, plus all the equipment that you needed to do it, you know, the shrink wrapping and all that stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if it came to over $100 to do it. And they may say, wow, that's kind of a lot. Well, I'm not really here to discuss that, but we have in the past had people say, whoa, that's a lot to process turkeys. I'm real quick to say, well, you could do it yourself. Oh, no. Well, then it looks like we're your only option. So you want to do it?
or not, because a turkey that's still running around is costing you money. And if you can't process it, we got you, and we don't do that. We don't, gouge people, but the amount of time that it takes to process animals, we charge accordingly. We charge accordingly. And, um, you know, I've even got fellow homesteaders around here that have said, well, they charge way too much. And I mean, like, there's fair trade. We still have to buy gasoline for our cars. We still have to make payments on things, like insurance payments and um, at one time we had a mortgage payment, things like this. We still have expenses like anybody else. We're clearing those, but that's because we don't work for free. We've actually got people that quit using us. We did consulting with them and all kinds of stuff, and they quit using us for the chicken processing, and now they go an hour south of us to an Amish place because, as we all know, the Amish can do it cheaper, and they do. They do. And so we say, sayonara, once you go black, don't come back, right? Because, we enjoy doing business with people, but if there really is no sense of loyalty, it's like, well, we don't really enjoy, we don't, see ya, sayonara. So fair trade, that's the part that I didn't want to talk about too much, right? Because we all know how that can go. Well, you think you're so special, I mean, anybody could butcher a turkey. Well, then you do it, because I'm all cut up. My hands are all cut up. I got hit in the head with a broom the other day. A turkey did it, knocked it over, and hit me in the head. Yeah, it's not good work. I mean, it's good work, but it's not pleasant work. Our turkeys weren't so bad. The 30 that we had were not so bad because they were just the right size for fitting in buckets. We did about 60 or 70 for another guy, and they were just too big to fit in the buckets, the turkey killing buckets. But then they were too small for the supersize buckets that we have. So they were really tough to do, Okay, let's kind of put that on the shelf right there. But I hope the takeaway from that is that when you do something for somebody, your time is worth money. Your time has value. Your time has value. Your resources have value. And that value doesn't always have to be, compensated for in dollars, in green money. I mean, in a lot of ways, I would much rather be compensated from somebody that I've done something for in a more heartfelt way, like something that they have, like if I get dollars, like if I got dollars from Keith Sutton for that class, and then I had to turn around and take those dollars down to Hydro Lake and buy 2 phone poles, it's not the same. It's just not the same. But our bartering has a lot of value. Okay, so let's just leave that right there and talk a little bit about bartering. Bartering is outside of the money system, and when you do that, you're cutting somebody else out, the third party out, the person that owns the money, right? Because we don't own the money, we just use the money, right? And so there's value in doing that, because then you're you're keeping the profits amongst the two of you. Like if this guy's got some livestock and this guy's got some equipment, and you can get a trade done, great. That's great. And okay, we're done. Yep. You good? I'm good. All right, we're good. Then you wouldn't do the trade in the first place if you didn't think it was worth it. No, I'm going to need a little bit more than that because this, this livestock is worth, this one's worth this much and this one's worth this much, something like that. Got people bugging me. All right. So I tell you all the time now, and I tell everybody this. It's a message that was pounded into me, and so I'm passing it down the line. If you're going to be in the homesteading business, it's not like you have 15 things that you need to know how to do. You need to be able to take on anything. And I mean anything is going to come your way. Anything. And so it's a mindset that nothing scares me. I will figure it out. One way or another, I will figure it out. It may take me a little time, but I'm not going to throw my hands up and just quit. I am not going to do that. And the more you do this, the more you realize that you're developing as a sustainable person, right? But along the way, if you want to be seen as valuable, right? Hey, this guy can do anything. This guy can do anything. You have to realize your value. And if you think you want to be more valuable, then you better add to your skill list, or the skills that you have become better at them. I've been noticing this lately. My skills as a trainer are getting better. They really are getting better. And I see it when I'm training my kids. I really get their attention. They really want me to show them how to do this. Like Jim today was making a metal piece. It was a bracket of some sort. He didn't really say what it was for. I didn't really ask, but it was pretty intricate. And he said, "Can you show me how this oxygen acetylene works? Because I need to heat this up to bend it." And so you don't just show them how to turn it on. You got to show them all the safety parts with it and how to, the settings. And it's a long process because oxygen acetylene is dangerous. Potentially it's extremely dangerous, right? And he's down there cutting and stuff, near the fuel tanks and stuff. So it's a long process. And I see that I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better at communicating with him the way those skills were communicated to me. And I don't mean just when I was in the Air Force going to their schools and stuff, but before that, I went to a tech school. And before that, in high school, well, I didn't pay much attention in high school, but I worked for a guy in a gas station, and he taught me a lot of things. And he was kind of a jack of all trades guy. And my dad, crazy, he didn't have the skills, like he couldn't weld, but he's a good carpenter, and he was an egghead, and he was an engineer, and he was good at that, real good at that. But then his side gig was our property, and we had a pool, and then me and him took down a beauty parlor from another town, and then we put it back up at the pool and made a pool house out of it. It's all gone now. All of it's gone. But, he just came up with these ideas of things to scrounge, and we just did them, all kinds of stuff. Built a greenhouse out of scrounge, built a big barbecue thing out of scrounge. It was pretty cool. He was the ultimate MacGyver, and I become that way too. Well, a guy paid me a compliment one time. I was on a local training situation, deployment. Wasn't really, we weren't deployed. We were deployed just off the base onto another piece of property, and we had to go there and set up everything and make believe like we had just dropped all of our equipment out of a 130 someplace and had to get it set up. And we got it all set up, and then it was kind of getting quieted down for the night, and people were doing their thing here and there. And I just went out for a walk, and it was completely dark out that night. And I was coming back, and there was no security or guns or anything like that, so it was safe. But I'm coming back, and this guy had his girlfriend meet him there. And as I'm walking back, my eyes were adjusted. I could see them perfectly. They were and I kept going. I kept, they were in front of a truck, a pickup truck. And pickup truck's olive drab, it's green. And I can see him perfectly. And I was about 20 feet. And then I hear, "Sergeant Baker, is that you?" And I said, "How did you know it was me?" Like, I was wearing a camouflage uniform, right? And I had a hat on and stuff, and I had it tipped down. And how'd you know it was me? And he says, "Who else would it be?" And I thought, I took that as a compliment, out of all the people in that section that were there, I was the only one that would be out in the thick of things at night. Yeah. Anyway, so you get yourself skilled up. You get yourself trained on stuff. And I'm looking at the people on here that have really taken the time to get themselves skilled. Copperhead, Mrs. Copperhead there. That was not your line of work before. In Mr. Copperhead's not his either. And now you are pretty good at what you're doing. You're pretty good. You've acquired new skills, and more skills await you, I hope. You should come to the charcuterie class. You really should. The both of you. And bring that other girl along. When you have these skills, you become this is almost countercultural. I could see someone from the HR department come down and say, "No, we are all equal. We are all equal." And I would say, "No, we're not. No, we're not. Some of you are useless," right? So the further we go in this career field, and I could be sitting here as not a homesteader, but I could be sitting here as, like Canadian prepper. And I could be saying, the further we go, and I'm as one of these prepper guys, I want to tell you, any day now, the wheels are going to fall off. The shit is going to hit the fan, and I want to grab a hold of them and say, then you tell these people to get themselves skilled, because a lot of them are good for nothing. Yeah, you might have a pallet of pork and beans, right? And you may have the sharpest looking AR-15 rifle. Big deal. We're talking sustainability here. Can you sustain, And a lot of these things require skills. Now, we are preppers, right, as homesteaders, because like after everything that I went through up till this point in this year, now the snow's coming, right? And the very cold weather, right? And I still have all these cattle to take care of. I still have all these pigs to take care of. I still have all of that. I'm still going to have to butcher beef this winter. Now I can do it hanging them off a tree limb, or I prepared. I built a nice high rail, and I got a good trolley up there, and I have a motorized winch. It's going to be better. I'm fortifying the position that I'm in. I'm making it so I can do my job more efficiently with less energy going out of me, Like I don't have to be able to lift 200 pounds anymore. I don't need to know how to do that because I have this motorized winch. Could I? Yeah, I can. Yeah. But I don't want to be doing that 6 times a day. And then by lunch, it's like, I'm not feeling like working after lunch because I've worked, Yeah, the energy level, it's, I won't say I don't have the same energy. It's just that when you're young, you're dumb. And then when you get a little older, you say, why am I breaking my back to do this? They make a motorized chain hoist, and any guy that does this would have a motorized chain hoist. Why not? Right. So I got one in it and I had to build the whole thing. And anyway, it's done. I don't have to do it again. If I had hired somebody to do it, I don't know how much they would have charged to do what I did. And would they actually even do it? Because when, as a welder, somebody wants you to build something so they can lift, a thousand or a 1-ton animal up, potentially, and they're going to say, you're going to need to get this engineered. Engineered? What do you mean? Well, you got to have an engineer tell us that if we build it this way, that it'll hold 2,000 pounds. Well, I didn't do that. I was the welder, and I've been doing it long enough where I know I can over engineer this and I'll be fine. So that's what I did. But that's the value that I bring to this homestead, right? So yeah, I'm more valuable than some of the other members of my staff because they don't know how to do this yet. My job is to get them trained up so they can. So someday when all I want to do is mow the lawn, then I can do that. I don't have to butcher beef anymore. And I don't mind butchering beef. It's kind of therapeutic, actually, especially if you got a bull that's kind of a jerk. Then it's not bad at all. So as you're skilling yourself up, you are becoming more valuable to your family, more valuable to the community that you live in. Because, American culture has been kind of infiltrated with disinformation, and I think it's for entities outside of America that want to destabilize us. They want to destabilize us as a group of people. Americans typically are very difficult people. And so it would be kind of difficult to, take this country over from the inside. And you can see all the strife that's going on right now. If we were easy to herd, they would have had it done. And so now they've opened the borders. Oh, that always works. We did that. That's been done throughout history, just bring in a bunch of people from outside and that will destabilize the culture. But I don't think it's going to work. I think the borders are open right now, but one of these days there's going to be a wave of people going south because they're like, hey, it ain't safe up here. These people they're not nice. And, we can be nice, but I don't like people stealing into my country. I just don't like that. And a lot of us don't like that. And I don't, the time is going to come where the commander in chief says, y'all got to go home. Y'all got to go home. So all you sheriffs, start moving them south. You get them or I'll get you, and that could happen very easily. And just our average citizen would be identifying, hey, got one right here. This guy shouldn't be here. All right. South, Junior. Start heading south. And then things could come back online. So anyway, skill yourself up and then realize that you have more value to your community, right? Oh, the one thing I was going to say about these entities from outside the United States that are trying to destabilize, we saw that in the military. They tried to destabilize it big time, but it didn't really work. It really didn't. I mean, you'd hear the rhetoric coming from the official sources, but everybody's kind of like, you hear this shit? And they just don't. It doesn't really like, oh, yes, I think this is correct. Like we can all day long say, oh, yeah, Bruce Jenner, he's so courageous and everything. But behind the scene, people are saying, how stupid. I'm just not going to cheerlead for foolishness, absolute foolishness. 65-year-old guy puts on a dress. All of a sudden, he's changed his name to Caitlyn. No. Mock it, laugh at it, because it's ridiculous. It just, and the country is a little bit on the chubby side. Like we have way too many people who are eating that are not working, and it's going to right itself. I heard a guy yesterday. This was a podcast that I would pass on. It is actually worth listening to. And it's pretty easy to find. It was on YouTube. Let's see if my YouTube is working. The man who... Uh-oh. Okay, I found it. Not yet, but I found history. The man whose podcast it is a guy by the name of Steve Turley. Dr. Steve Turley. And uh-oh. Darn it all. They changed my format here. Yeah, they did. Well, anyway, he was interviewing a guy, and the guy said, "Oh no, I'm very optimistic for the State of the Union," and he wasn't talking politically. He sounded kind of. When I heard it, I thought that sounds like something I would say, and he said, "No, stupid is not sustainable, right? Stupid is not sustainable." So, I mean, you could have, let's say we had an island and there was 25 people on there, and one guy decides he's going to start putting dresses on and calling himself by a girl's name. His name is Stan, but he wants to be known as Loretta. It's not going to work. It's too weird. It's too weird. And so it will not sustain itself, right? You have to make good decisions. Too bad I can't find that. History. View all. Okay, that was today. And yesterday. Nope. Yeah, they changed the format here, and they told me last night they were going to. And I guess I didn't have any say in it. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and figure it out. But anyway. So that's it. Let's see if anybody's got any input for me on this. I will stand by what I said. You're going to want to get yourself skilled up and realize that you have value and act accordingly. Act as a. Okay, Ghost says, yeah, welding, cutting around any tanks be Yeah, gases can build up and ruin your welding career in a short. Yeah, I know. Crunchy says we did Bartertown at Tag's event in Kansas City. Man, how do you find time to go to all these events? And then did it here. It was a blast. We should do that at Tribe Day in Michigan this summer. Yeah. Great lesson for both kids and adults. Yeah, I'd be up for that. Sonia Boone was supposed to do a block on barter, and I don't know whatever happened about it. I don't know. All right. Hope that helps. Things are going well. The show's doing okay. All right. There's no consulting call tomorrow. No, we're doing that every other week. We had a good time last week too. Real good time. If you're a Tribe Plus member, you can come to that. If you're not, we're going to open up registration for Tribe Plus soon. We're just trying to nail down some details on that. Okay. Life is busy on the farm, and that's how you want it. We sold out of milk today. Copperhead. Yeah. Milking 5 cows. Got one of them getting ready to calf here pretty soon. So we're not actually milking her. We're just giving her feed. Okay. I got to get going. Yeah, that's all I can think of. All right. Thanks for everybody coming by. We will see you next time. And remember, anyone can farm. Good night now.